I never believed in omens. Not really. I thought they were just stories people told to make sense of bad luck. But that night, the night the sky bled red and the rain smelled like rust, I learned that some warnings aren't meant to be ignored. It was late October, the kind of autumn where the air feels thin, like the world's holding its breath. I just moved into the old Henderson place on the edge of Blackwater Ridge, a fixer-upper, they called it. Cheap, isolated, perfect for someone like me who needed to disappear for a while. The realtor didn't mention the blood moon, or the fact that no one had lived there in 17 years. The first strange thing happened at dusk. I was unpacking boxes in the living room when I noticed the light outside wasn't fading the way it should. Instead of deepening into twilight, the sky turned coppery, like someone had dipped the clouds in old pennies. I stepped onto the porch, barefoot, the wooden planks cool and damp beneath my feet. And there it was, the moon. Not white, not yellow, red, deep, pulsing red like a wound in the sky. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my sister. "You okay? Saw the blood moon. Heard they only come before something bad." I laughed it off. Superstition. But then the rain started. Not normal rain. This fell heavy and slow, almost deliberate, each drop hitting the tin roof with a hollow plink that echoed too long. And the smell. God, the smell. Wet earth, yes, but underneath it, something metallic, like licking a battery or standing near an open wound. I went inside, locked the door, and tried to focus on unpacking. But the house, it felt watchful. The walls were thin, papered in faded floral patterns that peeled at the edges like dead skin. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like a footstep just out of sync with my own. Around 11 p.m., the power went out. Not with a pop or a flicker, just gone. Total blackness, except for the red glow of the moon seeping through the curtains. I fumbled for my flashlight, heart thudding, and that's when I heard it, a whisper from the basement. Not words, just breathing, wet, ragged, like something drowning in air. I told myself it was the wind through the foundation vents, but the vents had been sealed shut for decades. The realtor had shown me the inspection report. I crept to the basement door. The wood was ice cold under my palm, and the knob, it was dripping. Not water, something thicker, darker. It left a sticky trail down my wrist that smelled like iron and rot. I didn't open it, not then. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table, flashlight beam trembling in my lap, listening to the rain and that awful breathing below. Minutes stretched. The red moonlight painted the room in shades of dried blood. Then, a knock. 3 slow raps on the front door. I froze. No one knew I was here. My address wasn't listed. My car was hidden in the garage. The knocking came again, harder. I didn't answer. But through the peephole, I saw nothing. Just the red-lit porch, empty. Except, wait, the rain wasn't falling straight down anymore. It was curving, like something invisible was standing there, bending the droplets around its shape. I backed away. My heel hit a loose floorboard, and it gave way with a sharp crack. Underneath, wrapped in oilcloth, was a child's diary. The first page read, "They come when the moon drinks the sky. Don't let them hear you breathe." The date? October 31st, 2006. The night the Henderson family vanished. And outside, the knocking turned into scratching. Long, slow drags down the door, like fingernails or claws. The rain grew louder. The breathing from the basement rose to a gurgle. And the moon? It pulsed brighter, as if feeding on my fear. I still don't know what's down there, or who, or what is waiting on my porch. But I do know this. Blood moons don't cause disasters. They announce them.
It started with a photograph, not a digital file. No EXIF data, no geotag, no digital footprint. Just a physical 4x6 print, slightly curled at the edges, tucked inside a library copy of Forgotten Roads of the Northeast. I'd checked it out on a whim, drawn to the chapter on vanished towns, but when I flipped to page 87, the photo fell into my lap like a secret I wasn't meant to keep. The image showed a narrow dirt road winding through dense pine forest. Fog clung to the ground like smoke, swallowing the path just 50 feet ahead, and in the center of the frame stood a woman in a white dress, simple, old-fashioned, soaked through. She faced the camera directly, but her face wasn't there. Not blurred from motion, not out of focus. It was erased. Smooth, featureless skin stretched where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been, like someone had taken a razor to her identity and scraped it clean. I laughed nervously. Probably an art student's project slipped into the wrong book. I tucked it into my coat pocket and tried to forget it. That night, I dreamed of the road. I was walking it barefoot, cold mud squelching between my toes, the air thick with the scent of wet pine and something metallic, like rust or blood. Up ahead, the woman stood with her back to me. She turned slowly, where her face should have been. Nothing, just a smooth, hollow curve of skin. Then, in a voice that seemed to come from inside my own skull, she whispered my name. I woke drenched in sweat, heart hammering, rain tapping softly against my window like it was testing the glass. I told no one. Who would believe me? But 3 days later, I found another photo slipped under my apartment door. Same road, same fog, same pines. Only now, I was in it, standing beside the faceless woman, my own eyes wide with terror, mouth open in a silent scream. My clothes matched what I'd worn the day before. The date scrawled on the back in smudged ink, tomorrow. That's when I knew it wasn't a dream. It was a warning, and I was already in it. I packed a duffel bag, filled my car's tank, and left town just after midnight, telling my boss I needed a mental health break. The highway stretched empty ahead, streetlights blurring into yellow streaks. But then my GPS chimed, recalculating. The screen flickered. Suddenly, I was turning onto a narrow, unpaved road lined with skeletal pines, branches like broken fingers clawing at the sky. The road from the photo. My hands clenched the wheel, knuckles white. Rain began to flaw, not gentle but hard, slanting sideways in the headlights like silver needles. The engine's hum deepened into something guttural, almost organic, as if the car itself was breathing. Trees closed in, no signs, no houses, just endless forest and the drumming of rain on the roof. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded, tires kicking up mud, and stopped just short of a figure standing dead center in the road. The woman in white. She wasn't blurred anymore. She was horrifyingly clear. And her face, God, it wasn't missing. It was stitched shut.
thick black thread crisscrossed her lips, eyelids, even her nostrils, sewn tight like a doll never meant to speak, see, or breathe. Her dress clung to her frame, dripping dark water onto the road. She raised one pale hand, pointed past me. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Behind my car, stretching into the darkness as far as I could see, stood dozens of figures, all in white, all stitched shut, all utterly still, all staring directly at me. I stomped on the gas. The engine roared, but the car didn't move. Wheels spun, spraying mud, yet we were rooted or held. Then the radio crackled to life. Static hissed, then a voice, dry, papery, like pages turning in a tomb. You looked. Now you're seen. The rain stopped. Not gradually. 1 second it poured, the next, dead silence. Even the wind died. The only sound was the slow, wet rip of thread tearing. I turned my head. Her stitches were unraveling, one by one. Blood welled in the gaps, thick and dark, and beneath the threads, something pulsed, pushing outward. I screamed, but no sound came out, because when I opened my mouth, I felt it, rough, coarse thread pressing against my tongue, weaving through my gums, pulling tight across my lips. And the last thing I saw before the headlights died was my own reflection in the windshield, with black thread already stitching my scream shut.